Oh, hi there, just looking over my DVD, Midnight Cowboy 1969, the only movie to receive an Academy Award with an X rating. 1969, Jon Voight and the great Dustin Hoffman, Midnight Cowboy. Anyway, Introduction to Pop Culture, Humanities 101. What is this class all about? Let's talk about this class a little bit. Survey of pop culture, the history of pop culture from the 50s through the 90s, and also video games right up to the present. And so when I say survey of pop culture, what are we talking about? Really what I'm interested in are two main subjects: history of film and the history of rock music. Now when I say rock music, I mean rock and roll. I'm talking about all kinds of popular music. We can talk about 50s rock and roll, Elvis Presley, Chuck Berry, Buddy Holly, moving into the 60s, of course, with the Beatles, but also the parallel movements in black music, especially with Motown and Atlantic Records. Who was on Atlantic Records? Does anybody know? Aretha Franklin, Wilson Pickett, Otis Redding. And also, as we move through the music periods, soul, funk, and into disco and rap, we're going to talk about rap music quite a bit, but mostly rock and roll, grunge music, MTV, all that good stuff. Music in the 70s with the big stadium rock bands, punk music in the late 70s, history of rock and roll, history of film from the 50s through about 1980. In the 1950s, things were pretty tame. Blackboard Jungle started changing things, along with a few other movies. Man with the Golden Arm, Frank Sinatra, the great Frank Sinatra. We'll be talking about Frank in a week or two. But then we move into the 60s, and three movies that really defined the move into more violent movies, movies showing more drugs, and movies showing more sex. Violence, drugs, and sex. Big three we're going to talk about this semester. Bonnie and Clyde with Faye Dunaway and Warren Beatty. Bonnie and Clyde. A lot of reflection there. Bonnie and Clyde, 1967. Easy Rider. Dennis Hopper, Jack Nicholson, and Peter Fonda, 1969. And as we said before, Midnight Cowboy, the only movie with an X rating that received the Academy Award. So that's the big three for this class: violence, drugs, and sex, with Bonnie and Clyde, Easy Rider, and Midnight Cowboy. And that really brings us to what this class is all about more than anything else. It is about what we might call the slippery slope, the move from the fairly tame 50s to the much more explicit 60s, and where does it go from there? And also rating systems. How are we controlling this? In the 50s we had something called the Hays Code. All movies had to be submitted to a coding system. But then in the 60s this fell apart and we went into the GPMX system. General, parental, mature, and X-rated. And that's changed slightly, but we still use a very similar system today to rate movies, so we know what we're seeing. Again, Midnight Cowboy, the only X-rated movie. And so this is what we're really concerned with this semester, is these rating systems. And going back to music, we haven't really had a rating system for music until 1985, and the Parents Music Resource Center, PMRC, with Tipper Gore, Al Gore's wife, came out with the parental advisory sticker, which you still see on CDs today, and which you see at the top of the banner. The top of the announcement has a banner with the parental advisory sticker on it. So that came out in 1985. All of this stuff is voluntary. No laws were passed that made people do this stuff. But we really need to think about, do these systems make things worse, or do they make things better? And how fast do things change after we put rating systems and parental advisory stickers on this? 1985, the PMRC parental advisory sticker came out. Just a few years later, Two Live Crew came out with As Nasty as They Wanna Be. Big lawsuit. We'll be talking about that as we get into the semester. So, film and music, the two big topics, and their related censorship concepts. But then also we'll be talking to a lesser degree about three other topics: television comedies, TV advertising and commercialism, and last but not least, video games. So TV comedies, we're going to go through some comedies from the 50s up into the 80s. I Love Lucy, Leave It to Beaver, The Beverly Hillbillies, Jed Clampett. All in the Family, and Married with Children. Married with Children ran into similar things that the Parents Music Resource Center wanted to do with censorship. So again, this movement from very tame stuff in the 50s to very edgy stuff with All in the Family and Married with Children in the 70s and 80s. TV advertising, we'll talk about cigarette advertising, alcohol advertising, pharmaceutical advertising, and video games. Our last 3 weeks we'll be talking quite a bit about video games and California laws to legislate the sales of video games and First Amendment issues. We'll also talk about First Amendment issues as they apply to rap music. Ice-T and his song Cop Killer, 2 Live Crew, as nasty as they want to be, and also some heavy metal bands. Judas Priest got into a big lawsuit in 1990, First Amendment issues. So lots of First Amendment issues, lots of censorship issues coming up in our survey of pop culture. If you're having any problems with Blackboard, please email me or call TELS, T-E-L-S, or call the help desk. Those phone numbers are in your syllabus. And please check your emails daily, but it's important that you do check your emails and email me right away if you're having any problems with the class. Try not to email me about technical computer problems. I really can't help you with that, and you do really need to talk to TELS or the help desk. Again, those numbers are in the syllabus. So please open up the week 1 assignment folder and be sure you're doing the discussion forum and the weekly quiz. Every week, that's 260 points of possible 440 points of your grade. Discussion forum, 13 discussion forums, and weekly quizzes, 13 weekly quizzes, 260 points. Also, there are 4 papers for the fully online class and only 3 papers for the hybrid class. The hybrid class also has 7 movie nights where we will be watching certain movies in their entirety. In the online class, you are welcome to drop in on our movie night. That is every even numbered class number 2, number 4, number 6, etc. And that class is held in Building 1, Room 205. So hopefully we'll see some of the online people there also. Please email me if you'd like the schedule for that and the list of rules. So again, if there's any questions, please email me. But if there's not, open up assignment folder 1 and away we go. Pop culture, here we come.